The wings of the theater were draped in shadow, a quiet limbo between the chaos of the green room and the blinding light of the stage. Cynthia Erivo stood there, her bare feet planted firmly on the cool wooden floor, her eyes closed. She was a study in contrasts, regal and grounded, fierce and serene, monumental and impossibly present. Her head was shaved clean, a smooth, elegant dome that caught the faint backstage light like polished obsidian. It was a deliberate choice, a powerful statement that drew the eye immediately to her face, to the extraordinary architecture of her features. Without hair to frame or distract, every contour was laid bare. The high, sweeping cheekbones that could cut glass, the strong, defined jaw that spoke of unshakable resolve, and the full, expressive lips that seemed perpetually on the verge of a smile or a song. Her skin was a deep, radiant brown, the color of rich mahogany, warm and luminous even in the dim lighting. It seemed to glow with an inner vitality, a testament to her unapologetic embrace of her African heritage. As she breathed, the delicate gold hoops in her ears caught the light, tiny circles of fire against her dark skin. Her hands were never still. They were elegant instruments, with long, artistic fingers that seemed to dance even when she was at rest. Her nails were works of art in themselves, long, sculpted, and often painted in bold, vibrant colors or intricate patterns. She would gesture while she spoke, her hands painting pictures in the air, each movement deliberate and full of meaning. In one hand, she clutched a simple wooden cross, a grounding talisman against the pre-show jitters. A stagehand approached to adjust her microphone pack. Cynthia stood perfectly still, her posture impeccable. She was not tall, but she commanded the space around her as if she were a queen on a throne. Her body was lean and wiry, the physique of a dancer and a fighter, every muscle defined and purposeful. There was an androgynous elegance to her frame, a fluidity that defied rigid categories, a grace that was both masculine in its strength and feminine in its softness. She wore a simple black jumpsuit, tailored to perfection, with a plunging neckline that revealed the sharp lines of her collarbones. A single gold chain rested against her chest, simple and elegant. The outfit was unadorned, yet it was impossible to imagine anything more stunning. It was a reminder that Cynthia did not need elaborate costumes or glittering accessories. She was the spectacle. The orchestra began the prelude. Cynthia opened her eyes, and the transformation was complete. Her eyes were deep, dark pools, infinite and knowing. They held galaxies of emotion, pain, joy, defiance, and profound tenderness. When she sang, those eyes would close, and the entire audience would feel as though she were pouring her very soul into their hands. She walked to the edge of the stage, and the crowd erupted. From the front row, a young woman named Amara watched, tears already streaming down her face. To Amara, Cynthia was more than a performer. She was a mirror. She saw the shaved head, a symbol of freedom from the constraints of conventional beauty. She saw the dark skin that had been dismissed and degraded for centuries, now elevated to the highest pedestal. She saw a body that existed outside the narrow confines of traditional femininity, yet radiated an undeniable, breathtaking power. She saw herself, finally, reflected in a star. On stage, Cynthia began to sing. Her voice was a force of nature, a rich, soaring soprano that could whisper a lullaby or shake the rafters. It was raw and polished simultaneously, a sound that seemed to come from somewhere ancient and eternal. As she sang, her body moved with a dancer's precision, her bare feet sliding across the stage as if she were walking on sacred ground. The audience was spellbound, caught in her gravitational pull. She was not merely performing, she was witnessing, sharing, testifying. Every note was a confession, every gesture an offering. The sweat began to glisten on her forehead, a natural pearl against her dark skin, proof of the physical and emotional toll of her art. Her voice cracked, just slightly, on a particularly emotional note, and the imperfection made the performance even more transcendent. She was not a robot, not an image, not a product. She was a human being, fully alive. After the final note faded into silence, she stood in the center of the stage, breathing heavily, her chest rising and falling. The applause was deafening, a tsunami of love and adoration. She smiled, a wide, genuine smile that transformed her face, softening the sharp lines and revealing a playful, youthful joy. Back in the quiet of her dressing room, Cynthia sat in front of a mirror. The makeup was minimal, barely there. She wiped a tear from her eye, a tear of gratitude and exhaustion. Her reflection stared back at her, the shaved head, the dark skin, the strong features that had been called too masculine, too black, too much. She had been told she wasn't what a star was supposed to look like. And yet, here she was. She looked at herself, truly looked, and saw not the rejections or the doubts, but the power. Her appearance was not a concession to the industry standards. It was a declaration of war against them. Every bald head, every bare foot, every note sung from the depths of her being was a victory. She smiled at her reflection, a quiet, intimate smile meant only for herself. The icon was gone for the night. What remained was a woman who had built an empire on her own terms, who had broken every rule and shattered every ceiling, simply by refusing to be anything other than exactly who she was. Her appearance was not just a package for the voice. It was the voice. It was the story. It was the truth.